Morning, friends. Hope you're doing well. We are going to be working at home today. I was going to work at the farm, but it is going to be in the 90s again today, and I just want to be able to go into the house whenever I want to and cool down. So Dylan's going to come out in a little bit and help me put the last bed in place in the garden, get the last of the wood chips down and everything, and that will all be buttoned up, which will be great. But while I'm waiting, I'm going to start moving compost from the pile to the bed over here that's on the walkway, but on the road side of the walkway. This bed is hardly any soil in it at this point. There were a lot of old trees that were cut down long before we moved here that had been decaying, and so there's lots of holes and there's just not much soil. Every time I try to go to plant something there's not much to dig up. So I'm just going to start taking buckets. It's going to be a slow process, not a fast thing, because each bucket I will then move around and, so it'll be kind of piddly work, but I think that bed really needs it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And then when Dylan joins us, we'll go down and get that last bed into place. We're going to have to take it apart and add a couple panels to lengthen it. And then we'll be done with the front garden. And again, everything that I've planted is still in there. It's growing. It's looking great. There has not been any intrusion. However, the rats did eat a 50-gallon bag, a 50-pound bag of chicken feed that I had in the feed silo. So I have started now feeding them once a day in the morning in one of the rubber pans and not filling that feed silo because I knew it wasn't the chickens eating that fast. Usually a 50-pound bag of feed will last for 2 weeks for them. And this was almost overnight. So I'm just going to be feeding them in their pail, in a rubber pail in the mornings and making sure there's no food at all left in there in the evenings. At some point, we'll get rid of them. Oh, another thing. I don't know if I've spoken about this already. I just received in the mail and I need to get it set up tonight. Another interesting way to help control with the snap traps. It is a bait that has basically like a birth control in it. It doesn't completely sterilize them, but it makes it very hard for the females to become pregnant. And so it's a great way to help control the population. It is legal here, probably in a lot of places. And so, and it's apparently a very palatable bait, like they really love it. So I'm just going to set that up in the garden too. So in addition to them getting stuck in the snap traps, which, they're smart. So once that starts happening, they kind of stop going into those boxes. But a bait box that causes them not to feel anything, it just means that they can't get pregnant, I think is going to be pretty effective because they won't make that connection because there's no pain involved. And so we'll see how it goes. All right, I'm going to get started moving compost. It's about 10 a.m. It is already in the 80s. It's going to be quite hot today. So somebody just laid an egg. So I'm going to put my book in. I am listening to We Live Here Now. It's pretty good. I'm looking for lots and lots of spooky books for the spooky season and enjoying them. Lots of ghost stories. It's really fun. All right, I'm going to get started. Okay, we are pretty much done with the lower portion of the garden. So let me walk you through what we just did. Okay, here we are at the top of the garden. Well, the top of this portion of the garden. When I say that, we've still got the mini orchard and the pollinator patch and then the original four raised beds. And so I still have some work to do up here. Like all I have to do is add compost in this bed, just a little bit, trim back some of the peonies that are gone because there's a few, but the rest of them are still holding on, which is crazy. Yeah, so I just need to top up these beds a little bit, not much. And I'll probably fill these grow bags to the top with soil, with compost. It's just an extra way to keep it around for when I need it elsewhere. But that's barely any work compared to what we had to do down here, and we're pretty much done, and I'm super excited. So we've got this bed full of fresh compost for the artichokes here, and then we'll put our onions and mustard in down there. There is irrigation underneath that compost. And this bed is obviously not done, but that's because it's going to be tulips, like I've said before, and so I'm waiting because I want to just put the tulips on the surface and then bury them with compost after that. It's just way easier than having to dig. So this bed will be like this for a while. Probably what I will end up doing in order to get the compost off the driveway, because I don't think the bulbs are coming for another month, is once I'm done using it everywhere else I need to use it, I will fill this tub and then the rest of this side of the bed with the compost, and then I can just I'll start planting the tulips at that end, and then I can just cover it as we go. And then we also still have this pile right here, which is still perfectly good soil because hardly anything has grown in it other than St. John's wort that comes in from the creek bed, because it kept getting eaten by rodents. So this is perfectly good soil. So I can use that to top the tulip bed as well. But we put our fresh pathway of wood chips down. All the pathways are now under wood chips. If I need to add more in the spring, like if this center part gets a little muddy, then I can, but otherwise we're good on that score. And then the beds are done. I do need to buy some more irrigation because this is all I had left, but that's fine. I'm not planting anything in here probably until spring. So I'll just add an additional length of it and tack it all down when we're ready. I'll still have to cut tops for this one and that one, but again, not until spring, and I still have plenty of this hardware cloth left to do that. So bed's ready for spring. Super stoked about that. This bed, I think I am going to put the lettuces in. They have already germinated. I just think it'd be pretty to have a nice little spiral of lettuces. So I'll come up with a good lid that we can access easier, and then I'll still attach it, but that way, because with the lettuce we'll be harvesting it more frequently than with this stuff down here. And this bed that we direct sowed, stuff is already coming up. I've been keeping it nice and moist So we've already got little seedlings coming up. The carrots will be a while, but that's good. And so very soon I'm gonna put the lid on top so that the rats don't find the seedlings and eat them. Speaking of seedlings, everything is looking really good. I'm so pleased that this seems to be working. I mean, I'm afraid to say that. I'm afraid to be like, yeah, it's done. This is it. I just hope that that's true. The longer these guys are in here, the higher the chance that I will actually have a harvest in the fall. So ended up topping this bed off. All it's got in it right now is a currant, which obviously is looking rough. And it's got daffodil bulbs as well. So they'll come up in the spring and then we'll do something else with it. But it needs more irrigation than it actually has. The girls are super happy. They're dust bathing right now down there. But, oh God, they're so cute. But they are very happy because we set up a giant pile of wood chips in there and they have so much fun when I do that. It only takes them about an hour. They tear it apart and they spread it around. I don't have to rake it around. They do it for me. So that should be enough to get them through the winter without having muddy feetsies. If not, I will add more wood chips, but just look, they're so funny. They're so happy. Everybody's bathing in the dust. Okay, and I piled up more wood chips around here. And then this bed, like I said, is gonna be for garlic. And so we're all set down here. It feels really good. Here's the very first round of seedlings that I planted, and this is the test run cage. And yeah, it's looking good. Nobody's gotten in. Everything's still in there. It's growing. I'm just so happy. So I've tidied up. I've gathered up like all the plant tags and the trash and all that kind of stuff. So it is a very clean and tidy garden and it feels so good. I don't know if I can explain how great it feels. Now, just like every garden and farm, we've got a bunch of all the stuff, the supplies over here. There's really no place else to put them. And even though it looks kind of junky, it is what it is. But I'm still super pleased with this. Okay, friends, it's really hot. Even though I'm in the shade, it's really hot. So we're gonna be done for the day. I just wanna thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden. And the next one won't be until Thursday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I'm going to get an MRI tomorrow. My doctor, we just wanna rule some things out, make sure there's nothing that should be there in my brain that could be causing like the month-long headache I had in July and a bunch of incidences of nearly passing out and vertigo. So yeah, just want to make sure all that's good. I've already had my heart checked. That is great. All my blood work came back great. So this is just kind of the final check and I'm really looking forward to it. I don't like being in the tube. That's a little claustrophobic, but I am so looking forward to getting this test done. I've been wanting one for a while and insurance needed more insurance. I mean, I'm glad I have it, but anyway, so that's gonna be it for now and I'll see you on Thursday. Thanks so much for hanging out. Have a wonderful time in your garden and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.